The massive ships of the Galactic Armada pierced the darkness at the edge of the Sol system, their hulls gleaming with the blue-white energy of exotic materials unknown to Earth science. Each vessel dwarfed the largest human spacecraft ever built, with the flagship Eternal Dominion stretching nearly 20 kilometers from bow to stern. The Armada moved in perfect formation, a testament to the unified purpose of the 7 species that comprised the Septarchy. Commander Zexthal stood on the bridge of the flagship, his 4 eyes narrowing as holographic displays showed the tiny blue planet that was their destination. His scaled skin rippled with anticipation, chromatophores flashing subtle patterns that conveyed confidence to his crew. Another primitive world for the collection, he mused to his second-in-command, Sub-Commander Vol. The intelligence reports indicate they've barely achieved rudimentary space travel. Val's tendrils curled in agreement. Their most advanced weapons are simple nuclear devices and chemical propellants. The usual display of force should secure immediate surrender. The Septarchy had conquered 1,000 worlds with the same routine. Arrive, demonstrate power, accept surrender. It was less a military campaign than a harvest, gathering resources and labor from species too primitive to resist, but advanced enough to be useful. Intelligence had classified humans as pre-FTL primitives with quaint nuclear weapons and internal combustion engines, hardly worth a full armada, but the unusual mineral composition of their planet made it a valuable target. Maintain approach vector, Zexthal ordered. Prepare the demonstration weapons. Target their natural satellite first. Seeing their moon partially fractured tends to eliminate any thoughts of resistance. Meanwhile on Earth, Dr. Samira Khan stared at her observatory readings in disbelief. The objects approaching shouldn't be possible. They were manipulating gravity itself for propulsion, creating ripples in spacetime that her instruments could barely interpret. She checked the calculations again, her hands trembling slightly as the implications became clear. Director Collins needs to see this immediately, she whispered to her assistant, who looked equally shaken. Samira reached for her secure phone with trembling hands. Instead of dialing a number, she pressed her thumb against the seemingly ordinary device and spoke a phrase she never expected to use. Watchful sky confirmed. I repeat, watchful sky confirmed. Within seconds, her call connected not to NASA or any known government agency, but to a facility whose existence was known to fewer than 200 people worldwide. Authentication code. Asked a calm voice. Hyperion Delta 793. Samira responded, her voice steadying as training took over. Multiple objects approaching, using technology consistent with theoretical gravitational manipulation. Conservative estimate puts them at our doorstep in under 72 hours. Understood, Doctor. Initiating Protocol Thunderbolt. Your service is acknowledged. Across the planet, in deep underground facilities, hidden beneath mundane government buildings, abandoned mines, and remote wilderness areas, alerts began to sound. Military personnel who had trained for years for this moment moved with practiced precision, while specialized teams activated systems that had been maintained in secret for decades. Within hours, hidden military bases around the world rumbled to life as ancient bunker doors, disguised as ordinary hillsides and desert floors, slid open for the first time. In the Mariana Trench, the seafloor itself parted to reveal a massive underwater hangar. Beneath the Antarctic ice shelf, thermal elements activated to create a perfect launch corridor through 2 kilometers of ancient ice. Admiral Helena Chen stood in the central command hub of Bastion Alpha, Earth's primary defense coordination center, burrowed deep beneath the Pacific Ocean. Around her, the combined military leadership of humanity gathered at their stations, faces illuminated by the glow of advanced holographic displays showing the approaching Armada. Status report, she commanded, her voice carrying the authority of someone who had prepared for this moment her entire career. All sleeper cells activated. Admiral. Orbital platforms coming online with passive sensors only. Terrestrial launch facilities at 97% readiness. Lunar defensive grid powering up on the dark side. Helena nodded, studying the tactical display. The vessels they had been building in secret for decades, ships utilizing technology reverse-engineered from a crashed scout ship found in Antarctica nearly 50 years ago, were reporting ready status. Sleek and deadly, they represented humanity's best-kept secret, a technological leap that had been hidden from the world's own population, let alone any watching eyes from beyond. "And our deception protocols?" she asked. "Fully operational. All conventional military forces are deploying as planned, making plenty of noise and looking appropriately panicked. Civilian leaders have been briefed and are prepared to play their parts." Admiral Chen's lips curved into a tight smile as she watched the alien fleet's approach pattern. "Their formation is exactly as our simulations predicted. The Septarchy hasn't changed their tactics in over a century." She turned to address the assembled command staff, her eyes reflecting the determination of a species that had spent its entire existence preparing for threats both seen and unseen. "Ladies and gentlemen, humanity has waited and prepared for this moment since we realized we weren't alone. Now we show these visitors that underestimating Earth was the last mistake they'll ever make." Commander Zexhal's holographic visage appeared simultaneously on every screen across Earth. Televisions, phones, billboards, his alien features causing gasps worldwide. Four eyes blinked in unsettling asymmetry above a mouth that seemed too wide, lined with teeth that resembled polished obsidian. "People of Earth," the translation began, his actual speech a series of clicks and harmonic tones that no human vocal cord could replicate. "We are the Galactic Armada, representatives of the Septarchy Concordance. Your world has been evaluated and deemed suitable for integration. Your resources and labor now belong to the 7 species of our alliance. Resistance means extinction." The transmission shifted to display casual demonstrations of their weaponry. An asteroid pulverized to dust by a beam of coherent energy, the atmosphere of Mars temporarily ignited into a swirling inferno before being extinguished. Finally, a gravitational lens focused on Europa, causing the moon's icy surface to crack and reshape before stabilizing again. "You have 12 hours to present your world leaders for processing. Prepare for preliminary resource assessment teams." As the transmission ended, worldwide panic seemed to erupt. News channels showed desperate crowds gathering in major cities. Military forces around the world scrambled jets and activated missile defense systems in what appeared to be uncoordinated, frantic responses. International leaders issued conflicting statements, some calling for unity, others for immediate surrender. For the Septarchy observers, Earth's reaction matched their expectations perfectly. In her genuine command center, burrowed deep beneath the Pacific Ocean in a facility shielded from all known scanning technologies, Admiral Helena Chen watched the alien fleet's formation with a tight smile. Around her, Earth's real defense command operated with quiet efficiency, monitoring the theater playing out on the surface. The Septarchy always puts their command vessels in the same formation, she noted to the United Earth Defense Council, pointing to a holographic display showing the alien fleet. 5 heavy dreadnoughts arranged in a pentagram pattern, with the flagship at the apex. "Their arrogance is our advantage." General Okafor, representing the African Union, leaned forward. "What's the status of the Chinese stealth platforms?" "In position and undetected," Helena confirmed. "The Russian gravitational disruptors are also deployed. Operation Glassjaw is ready on your command." The 7 members of the council exchanged glances before the chairperson, former Japanese Admiral Takashi Yamamoto, nodded solemnly. "We have prepared for this moment for 50 years. Proceed with the operation." Admiral Chen turned to her communications officer. "Send the authorization code. And alert our panicking forces to maintain the charade for another 6 hours. We want the Septarchy completely committed to their approach vector." High above Earth, in what appeared to be nothing more than empty space, 3 vessels the size of small buses silently activated their engines. These craft, developed using phase shift technology reverse-engineered from the Antarctic discovery, were effectively invisible to conventional detection methods. Their hulls absorbed, rather than reflected, electromagnetic radiation, and their propulsion systems created no thermal signature. Inside the lead vessel, Captain Alexandra Volkova checked her targeting coordinates one final time. Confirm primary targets, she instructed her small crew of 4. Command relay nodes identified on all 5 dreadnoughts, her tactical officer confirmed. Targeting solutions locked. Phase variance calculated and compensated. Alexandra took a deep breath. Humanity was about to announce its presence to the galaxy in a way the Septarchy would never forget. For Earth, she said simply, and pressed the activation sequence. The 3 missiles launched simultaneously, their trajectories calculated to approach the alien vessels from angles the Septarchy considered impossible for targeting. When Septarchy sensors finally detected the approaching objects, they were dismissed as harmless, far too small to carry any meaningful payload against their shielded behemoths. This assumption held until the moment the missiles bypassed all shield systems using phase shift technology, momentarily existing in a different dimensional state before rematerializing directly against the hulls of their targets. The explosive damage was minimal, merely enough to breach the outer armor, but what followed was far more devastating. Each warhead released a quantum field disruptor that spread through the ship's command networks, temporarily scrambling their advanced navigation and weapons systems. On the bridge of the Eternal Dominion, alarms blared as systems failed across the flagship. Commander Zextal's chromatophores flashed crimson with shock and rage. "Report," he demanded as emergency lighting bathed the bridge in an ominous glow. 3 simultaneous strikes against command nodes. His tactical officer responded, tendrils writhing in confusion. Shields were bypassed, not overloaded or destroyed. The weapons simply ignored them. "Impossible," Zextal hissed, but the evidence was irrefutable. 5 of his most powerful vessels were temporarily crippled by weapons that shouldn't exist in the hands of a pre-FTL civilization. As systems gradually restored, a transmission reached the flagship. The face that appeared on their screens was human, female, wearing what appeared to be a formal military uniform. "This is Admiral Helena Chen of the United Earth Defense Force," she stated calmly. "Consider that a warning shot. We are prepared to negotiate terms for peaceful interaction, but we will not be conquered. You have 6 hours to withdraw to Neptune's orbit for diplomatic contact. Further aggressive approaches will be met with escalating force." The transmission ended, leaving the bridge in stunned silence. For the first time in centuries of conquest, Commander Zextal felt something alien to his kind: doubt. He had expected fear, panic, and eventual surrender. Instead, these humans had landed a precision first strike, while their planet's surface played out a convincing charade of disorganized panic. "Recalculate intelligence assessments," he ordered, his voice quieter than before, "and prepare my diplomatic shuttle. It seems we have underestimated this species." The neutral meeting point was established in high Earth orbit aboard what appeared to be a hastily repurposed space station. The structure's exterior showed evidence of rushed modifications and patchwork repairs, exactly what the Septarchy would expect from a species scrambling to create an appropriate venue for first contact diplomacy. Inside, however, the reality was quite different. What Commander Zextal and his delegation perceived as structural weaknesses were carefully designed sensor blinds, concealing advanced monitoring systems and defensive measures. Every panel, every support beam, every seemingly decorative element had been meticulously engineered for this moment. Dr. Marcus Rivera straightened his simple blue uniform as he waited with his small team in the station's conference chamber. A xenolinguist with doctorates in comparative psychology and information theory, he had spent 20 years preparing for this meeting. Beside him stood Major Ling Wei, her military bearing masked beneath a civilian attache's outfit, and Dr. Ekaterina Sokolova, Earth's foremost expert on the recovered alien technology. "They're docking now," Ling reported quietly, receiving information through her subcutaneous communicator. "Initial scans detected as expected." Marcus nodded, his expression betraying nothing but diplomatic readiness. Remember, we're curious but intimidated. We need them talking, especially about their technology and command structure. The massive doors at the far end of the chamber slid open, revealing the Septarchy delegation. Commander Zexthal led the group, his scaled form towering nearly 7 feet tall. Behind him came representatives of each member species of the Alliance. Being so physiologically diverse, they barely seemed to belong in the same universe. One floated on gravitational nullifiers, its gaseous body contained within a transparent field. Another moved with unsettling grace on multiple tentacle-like appendages. A third seemed almost human until it turned, revealing a face that continued seamlessly around its elongated skull, allowing 360-degree vision. The 7 alien leaders created a living display of evolutionary paths from across the galaxy, each adapted to vastly different home environments. Marcus stepped forward, offering the greeting gesture Earth's sinologists had carefully designed to be unthreatening across multiple biological paradigms, open palms held at mid-chest, head slightly bowed. On behalf of Earth and humanity, we welcome you to our system, he began, his translator converting his words into the 7 distinct languages simultaneously. I am Dr. Marcus Rivera, appointed speaker for this initial contact. Commander Zexthal's upper eyes narrowed while his lower pair scanned the room methodically. Your weapons demonstration was unexpected, he said, his translator rendering his clicks and whistles into flat English. Perhaps you would explain how a pre-FTL species possesses phase shift technology. Marcus allowed a careful smile. We find your species fascinating as well, Commander. The Septarchy's achievements are remarkable. Before proceeding to such complex matters, perhaps we could learn about each other. Diplomatic relationships benefit from mutual understanding. The aliens exchanged glances, their various communication methods, chromatophore flashes, tentacle gestures, scent markers, creating a silent conversation invisible to untrained human perception. The Septarchy weren't accustomed to evasion from species facing their overwhelming power. You seek to delay, stated the gaseous entity, its voice emerging as modulated vibrations. Your planetary defenses remain inadequate despite your surprising capabilities. Not delay, Ambassador, Marcus replied smoothly. Context. How can we discuss terms without understanding your society, your needs, your governance structures? Our species' values inform decisions. What the aliens didn't detect was the quantum entanglement happening between Marcus's enhanced neural pathways and Earth's defense mainframe. His eyes, subtly augmented with microscopic tech, were capturing every detail of alien physiology. His auditory implants recorded frequencies beyond human hearing, analyzing the undertones of their communications. The seemingly ordinary table between them contained molecular scanners documenting the composition of their clothing, weapons, and biological systems. All this data fed continuously into the most advanced AI ever created by humans. Athena, housed in a quantum computing facility beneath the Marianas Trench. Every gesture, every physiological response, every microtonal inflection in alien speech patterns was being compared against predictive models developed over decades of preparation. Meanwhile, Marcus guided the conversation with practiced skill, asking questions that seemed born of innocent curiosity rather than strategy. Your fleet's propulsion system is remarkable, he noted. The gravitational manipulation creates visual distortions our scientists find beautiful. How do you maintain field stability across such massive vessels? The question appealed to the Septarchy's technological pride. The gas-form alien expanded slightly, their equivalent of puffing up with importance, and launched into an explanation of their drive systems. As the aliens indulged what they perceived as human technological naivety, Major Ling received confirmation through her implant that ATCHENA had completed its initial assessment. The AI had identified 17 critical vulnerabilities in Septarchy technology and biology, including a fatal flaw in their distributed command structure. Marcus's eyes briefly flickered with scrolling data as he received the final assessment. The Septarchy fleet operated on a synchronized quantum communication network that, while sophisticated, relied on predictable encryption algorithms. More importantly, their hierarchical command structure contained no redundancies. By their evolutionary and cultural development, the concept of betrayal within their alliance was biologically inconceivable. This rigid trust was their greatest weakness, one that humans, with their long history of both cooperation and conflict, were uniquely positioned to exploit. "I believe," Marcus said with genuine warmth as the technical explanation concluded, "this could be the beginning of a productive relationship. Perhaps we could schedule a more comprehensive discussion aboard your command vessel. Our leadership would consider it an honor to experience your technological achievements firsthand." Commander Zextal's chromatophores rippled with what ATGENA interpreted as satisfaction. The humans were showing appropriate deference now, impressed by Septarchy's superiority, as all species eventually did. "Agreed," the commander said. "We will arrange transport for your delegation tomorrow. I trust this demonstrates our peaceful intentions." As the meeting concluded and the aliens departed, Dr. Sokolova turned to Marcus. "Did we get what we needed?" Marcus nodded, his expression now deadly serious. "Athena has everything. Admiral Chen is implementing Operation Trojan Horse immediately." He glanced toward the viewport where the massive alien flagship dominated the visible space. "They have no idea what they've just invited aboard." Commander Zextal stood on the command deck of the Eternal Dominion, his patience wearing thin. The diplomatic overtures had consumed valuable time, and several members of the Septarchy High Command were questioning his hesitation to simply take what they had come for. "The humans are stalling," Sub-Commander Vol insisted, tendrils twitching with agitation. "Their delegation has twice requested postponement of their visit. Meanwhile, our sensors detect increased activity around their larger settlements." Zextal's chromatophores flashed with irritation. "Their primitive attempts at defense are irrelevant. However, I agree that we have shown excessive patience." He turned to his weapons officer. "Prepare a demonstration. Target their natural satellite. Minimum power, just enough to create visible surface damage. Let them see what awaits should they continue to delay." Across the command deck, officers moved with practiced efficiency, targeting systems locking onto Earth's moon. The gravitational weapon, pride of the Septarchy arsenal, began its power-up sequence, drawing energy from the exotic matter core at the heart of the flagship. "Energy at optimal levels," reported the weapons officer, targeting their moon's eastern hemisphere. "Impact will be visible from their major population centers." Commander Zextal flared his neck crest in satisfaction. "Fire." The beam launched from the flagship, visible as a distortion of space-time itself, a twisting corridor of concentrated gravitational force that could tear apart planetary bodies at full strength. This demonstration used barely 5% of maximum output, enough to gouge a crater visible from Earth without causing dangerous debris cascades. The weapon's effect should have been immediate and devastating. Instead, the beam traveled halfway to the moon before encountering what appeared to be a rippling wall of energy surrounding Earth's gravity well. The gravitational weapon dissipated against this barrier, its energy harmlessly absorbed and dispersed. Silence fell across the command deck. "Explain," Zextal demanded, his voice dangerously quiet. The science officer's tendrils writhed in confusion. "Unknown defensive technology. Preliminary analysis suggests some form of gravitational counterfield. Nothing in our intelligence indicated such capabilities." Before further analysis could be completed, alarms blared across the command deck. "Multiple energy signatures activating throughout the system," called the sensor officer. "Objects previously identified as debris are moving." Across Earth orbit, dozens of satellites previously categorized as derelict suddenly powered up. Space debris, fragments thought to be the remnants of primitive human launch vehicles, converged into organized formations. Asteroid mining operations revealed themselves as disguised military platforms. And from Earth itself, A wave of vessels launched simultaneously from hidden facilities across the planet's surface. Captain Layla Mbeki sat in the neural interface cradle aboard the EDF Interceptor Harrier, feeling the ship become an extension of her body as the neural link established. Around her neck hung a small wooden charm carved by her grandmother, a reminder of what she fought for. "All wings report," she commanded, her thoughts transmitting to her squadron more efficiently than verbal communication. "Jaguar Squadron ready," came the collective response of 11 other pilots, their consciousness partially merged with their vessels through the same technology. Layla opened a channel to Central Command. "Admiral Chen, Jaguar Squadron is combat ready, awaiting execution orders." Helena Chen's voice came through with perfect clarity. "Operation Shattered Mirror is authorized, Captain. Show them what humanity can do." Acknowledged. Layla smiled as she felt her ship's systems fully integrate with her enhanced nervous system. Her genetic modifications, stronger heart, reinforced skeletal structure, optimized neural pathways, had been designed specifically to withstand the G-forces and mental strain of neural interface combat piloting. Jaguar Squadron, engage primary targets. Evasive pattern Theta. 12 Earth vessels accelerated toward the Armada's forward line. The ships were smaller than the Septerchi's behemoths, but moved with impossible agility, their trajectories shifting faster than any conventional pilot could manage or survive. To alien gunners, the human ships seemed to flicker in and out of predictable flight paths, making targeting solutions nearly impossible to establish. Commander Zexthal watched in growing disbelief as the first wave of human ships effortlessly evaded the Armada's defensive fire, their movements defying conventional space combat doctrine. "Impossible," he whispered as the first Armada cruisers fell to weapons that didn't destroy matter, but temporarily converted it to energy before reconstituting it in chaotic forms. The perfect weapon against an enemy that valued its technology. The aliens watched in horror as their most advanced vessels transformed into twisted sculptures of metal and composite materials, systems failing as fundamental particles refused to obey the expected laws of physics. Crew members remained unharmed, but helpless aboard ships that no longer functioned in any meaningful way. "We've lost contact with the entire third quadrant," reported the communications officer, voice trembling. 27 ships disabled. Not destroyed, disabled. Meanwhile, deeper in the solar system, Jupiter's stormy surface rippled as something massive began to emerge from where it had been hidden within the gas giant's tempestuous clouds. A structure the size of Earth's moon slowly rose from beneath the colorful atmospheric bands, its surface bristling with weapon emplacements and communication arrays. Admiral Chen watched the tactical display with grim satisfaction as the Jupiter defense platform came online, its massive gravity generators creating a distortion field that would prevent the Armada from retreating via faster-than-light travel. "Status of Operation Trojan Horse," she asked her communication officer. "Dr. Rivera's team has successfully transmitted the virus to the Septarchi command network. Their quantum encryption has been compromised. We now have access to 70% of their communication protocols." Chen nodded. "Execute Phase 2. Let's show them exactly who they're dealing with." Throughout the Armada, ship systems began behaving erratically. Navigation computers plotted impossible courses. Weapon systems targeted friendly vessels. Communication channels filled with contradictory orders in senior officers' voices. On the Eternal Dominion, Commander Zexthal stared at the tactical display, showing his once proud Armada falling into disarray. The humans hadn't just prepared for this encounter. They had engineered it, letting the Septarchi's arrogance lead them into a perfectly executed trap. "All vessels," he ordered, his voice heavy with realization, "fall back to secondary positions. Disengage from human forces." He turned to his second-in-command. "Contact Admiral Chen. Inform her that we request a cessation of hostilities to discuss terms." As the battered Armada retreated, Captain Mbeki led her squadron in a final victory pass around the Septarchi flagship. Her neural interface allowed her to broadcast directly to the alien vessel, Her thoughts translated into the Septarchi's 7 languages simultaneously. Consider this a proper introduction. Welcome to Earth. As battles raged across the solar system, Earth continued unveiling layers of deception that had fooled not just the Septarchi, but most of humanity itself. The asteroid belt, long thought to be natural debris from the early formation of the solar system, began to move in ways that defied astronomical understanding. Individual asteroids fired maneuvering thrusters, their rocky surfaces splitting open to reveal weapon emplacements and communication arrays. Hundreds of these objects converged into massive defensive platforms, their combined mass providing natural armor around advanced weapon systems, powered by the same dark energy technology the aliens used. In the Septarchi Command Center, the sensor officer's tendrils trembled as she reported the impossible readings. "Commander, the asteroid belt is activating. We're detecting energy signatures matching our own Class 7 particle accelerators." Commander Zexthal stared at the tactical display in stunned silence. His magnificent armada, which had conquered 100 worlds, now found itself trapped between multiple layers of defenses that should not exist. The humans had not just prepared for this invasion. They had anticipated the Septarchi's every move with uncanny precision. "Full tactical assessment," he ordered, fighting to maintain composure before his officers. 38 capital ships disabled by the human energy conversion weapons. 27 support vessels compromised by what appears to be a self-replicating quantum virus. Our communication network is experiencing cascading encryption failures. The Jupiter anomaly is generating a gravimetric distortion field that will prevent immediate withdrawal via dimensional fold. Zexthal's chromatophores darkened. And Mars? The question hung in the air as the holographic display shifted to show the red planet. For centuries, Earth astronomers had observed Mars as a barren, rust-colored world with thin atmosphere and minimal geological activity. The Septarchi's own long-range scans had confirmed this assessment. But now, as their sensors penetrated the planet's surprisingly sophisticated camouflage field, the truth revealed itself. Mars wasn't a barren world, but a fully developed military installation, its surface teeming with defensive batteries and launch platforms. What had appeared to be natural geological features, canyons, craters, mountain ranges, were artificial constructions housing massive weapon systems and hangars. "Impossible," whispered Sub-Commander Vol. "Our intelligence indicated this planet was uninhabited. How could they have developed such extensive infrastructure without detection?" The Septarchi's tactical AI recalculated its assessment of humanity, the probability matrices shifting dramatically. There was now a 97% certainty that their intelligence on humanity had been deliberately manipulated, perhaps for centuries. Meanwhile, at the edge of the Armada's formation, a squad of Septarchi soldiers aboard the weapons platform, Inevitable Dominance, detected an unusual energy signature within their vessel. Security teams converged on Engineering Section 12B, weapons ready to confront what their sensors identified as unauthorized life forms that had somehow appeared within a secure compartment. Captain Jin Supar crouched in the shadows with his 11-person squad. The Void Walkers. Their phase-shift suits allowed them to exist partly out of normal spacetime, making them nearly invisible to conventional detection methods. The technology allowed them to pass through solid matter for brief periods, though the process required tremendous energy and physical conditioning. Stealth compromised. Jin Su vocalized through the neural comm system, shifting to direct approach. The squad's photonic camouflage deactivated simultaneously as they fully rematerialized in the alien engine room. The sudden appearance of 12 human soldiers in midnight blue combat suits froze the Septarchi security team momentarily, just long enough for the Void Walkers to act. What followed showcased humanity's unique advantage in close-quarters combat. While the Septarchi relied on overwhelming technology, humans had perfected the lethal art of hand-to-hand warfare through thousands of years of fighting each other. Each Void Walker carried a combat neural lace that accelerated their reaction time to superhuman levels, along with genetic modifications that enhanced strength, speed, and endurance. "They fight like cornered animals," reported the surviving alien commander as the humans advanced relentlessly through the station. Unlike Septarchi soldiers who fought according to established doctrines, these humans employed unpredictable combinations of techniques, adapting instantly to each new situation. Jin Su reached the central reactor after 17 minutes of methodical progress through the station. His team had suffered injuries, but no casualties, their phase shift technology allowing them to become partially incorporeal when conventional defenses would have proven fatal. "Package delivery in progress," he reported as his team's specialist, Dr. Mailin, placed devices around the reactor core. These weren't conventional explosives, but reprogramming modules designed to hijack the station's systems. "Magnificent technology," Mai murmured, her augmented vision analyzing the alien power core. "Their gravitational manipulation is elegant, but they never considered internal sabotage. No security redundancies whatsoever." Outside the station, the battle reached a critical phase as Earth revealed perhaps its greatest deception. Across the lunar surface, massive hangar doors that had been disguised as natural terrain features slid open. The moon, humanity's constant celestial companion, began to move. Thrusters appeared around its circumference as what appeared to be a natural satellite revealed itself as humanity's ultimate battle station. The moon's actual surface had been replaced decades ago with an artificial shell of actual lunar material, concealing the massive engineering project beneath. Admiral Chen watched from her command center as the lunar defense grid came fully online. "All systems operational," reported her tactical officer. "The Artemis Protocol is active." Chen opened a channel to all Earth forces. "This is Admiral Chen. The lunar defense grid is now active. All vessels initiate coordinated attack pattern Omega. Let's finish this." As Earth's final surprise was unveiled, Commander Zexthal realized the full extent of humanity's deception. They hadn't just prepared for invasion. They had transformed their entire solar system into an interlocking defense system disguised as natural cosmic features. And now, the Septarchi Armada faced the prospect of fighting a species that had turned deception itself into a weapon of war. Commander Zexthal retreated to his private chambers aboard the Eternal Dominion, as reports of further defeats flooded in from across the solar system. The Septarchi warships were being methodically disabled or driven back by weapons that shouldn't exist in the hands of what they had classified as a pre-FTL civilization. His communication panel chimed urgently. "Commander, this is Chief Archaeologist Nev Bren. I must speak with you immediately. Our Historical Analysis Division has made a discovery of disturbing significance." Minutes later, the archaeologist stood before Zexthal, a tremor visible in his usually steady tendrils. The archaeologist's carapace had paled, a sign of extreme distress in his species. "Report," ordered Zexthal. "Commander, while monitoring Earth's information networks, we began analyzing their historical records to better understand their military doctrine. We discovered anomalies that led us to perform deeper genetic scans of human prisoners acquired during our initial reconnaissance missions." Nev Bren's voice lowered. "The humans aren't native to Earth." Zexthal's chromatophores flashed in disbelief. "Explain." "Their ancient texts contain references to a homeland among the stars. We dismissed these as primitive mythology, but their genetic structure tells a different story. Humans possess markers indicating adaptation to higher radiation and gravity than Earth provides. They show evidence of engineered resilience to cosmic radiation and vacuum exposure." The archaeologist activated a holographic display showing human DNA alongside environmental data from Earth. They'd been living at reduced capacity on a world not optimized for their physiology. Earth wasn't their beginning. It was their sanctuary. Zexthal processed this information slowly, his tactical mind reassessing everything they knew about this species. "You're suggesting humans fled to this planet thousands of years ago after some cataclysm on their original homeworld. What we're witnessing isn't the desperate defense of a primitive species, but the carefully orchestrated revelation of a civilization that has been rebuilding in secret." As this conversation occurred, Dr. Amara Okafor stood in Earth's primary broadcast center beneath Mount Kilimanjaro. As Chief Historical Officer of the United Earth Government, she had been entrusted with knowledge few humans possessed: the true history of their species. The time had come to share that truth, not just with their alien adversaries, but with humanity itself. Broadcasting on all frequencies, confirmed her communications officer. The Septarchy command network has been compromised. They'll receive this transmission, whether they want to or not. Amara nodded and faced the camera, her expression solemn yet proud. She wore the formal blue and gold robes of her office, adorned with symbols far older than any known human civilization. People of Earth, and to our visitors from the Septarchy Concordance, she began, her voice calm and measured. I stand before you to reveal a truth kept hidden for millennia. A truth about our origins, our purpose, and our destiny among the stars. Across Earth, and throughout the Septarchy fleet, all communications were overridden by her broadcast. Humanity did not evolve on Earth. We came here 12,000 years ago when our original homeworld, Phaeton, faced extinction from a stellar event. Earth was selected as a sanctuary world by our ancestors, who sacrificed their advanced civilization to ensure our survival. The broadcast displayed ancient star charts showing a solar system with 7 planets around a yellow star, not unlike Sol, but in a different sector of the galaxy. When our ancestors arrived, they made a difficult choice. Rather than attempting to maintain their technology while rebuilding, they chose to start anew, to evolve alongside this young world, to learn its rhythms, to become truly part of Earth rather than merely its inhabitants. Knowledge of our true origins was preserved by a small group of guardians through the ages, waiting for the day when humanity would be ready to reclaim its place among the stars. On the Eternal Dominion, Commander Zexthal watched in stunned silence as this human female confirmed everything his archaeologist had just theorized. Our guardians maintained certain technologies in secret, Amara continued. But more importantly, they'd preserved our connection to those who had helped us find sanctuary. The species your kind knows as the Ancients, who disappeared from the galaxy 50,000 years ago. They saw in humanity something worth preserving, worth guiding. A data packet accompanying the transmission began unlocking sealed historical records within the Armada's own databases, information so deeply classified that most Septarchy commanders didn't know it existed. These records confirmed humanity's claim, showing interactions between early Septarchy explorers and a now-vanished civilization they had simply called the predecessors. Long-dormant genetic memories activated in the Septarchy commanders, triggering ancestral recognition. Their species' earliest memories contained warnings about beings with human-like adaptability and aggression. Not humans specifically, but entities with similar cognitive and physical traits who had once wielded power across multiple galactic sectors. Commander Zexthal felt an involuntary shudder pass through his body, a primitive response coded into his species' DNA as a warning mechanism. The humans weren't just another conquest. They were the inheritors of knowledge and technology from a civilization that even the mighty Septarchy had once feared. We did not develop our technology alone, Amara revealed, her voice gaining strength. We were guided, subtly and over millennia, to rediscover our heritage at a pace that would ensure we learned the wisdom to use it properly. What you witness today is not the full extent of our capabilities, but merely what we have chosen to reveal. Throughout the solar system, Earth's forces continued their methodical dismantling of the Armada's key strategic assets while sustaining minimal losses, employing battle strategies that seemed to anticipate the aliens' every move, because they had been developed using knowledge of Septarchy tactical doctrine that predated the current conflict by thousands of years. We offer you this truth, Amara concluded, not as a threat, but as an invitation to understanding. Humanity does not seek conquest. We have known destruction and have learned its cost. What we offer instead is cooperation, a new beginning for both our peoples. The choice, Commander Zexthal, now rests with you. The revelation of humanity's true origins sent shockwaves through the Septarchy command structure. For the first time in the Concordance's 1,000-year history, its unified purpose fractured. 2 of the 7 species, the gaseous Eroi and the crystalline Lithoi, opened private communication channels with Earth, seeking separate peace terms. Commander Zexthal struggled to maintain control of the increasingly disorganized fleet. His authority, once absolute, now faced challenges from within as ship commanders questioned the wisdom of continuing a conflict against the apparent inheritors of the predecessor's legacy. "This is mutiny," he hissed at his senior officers, chromatophores flashing dangerous patterns of rage. "The humans are manipulating us with mythological connections to extinct species." Sub-Commander Val's tendrils coiled defensively. "The genetic memory responses cannot be falsified, Commander. Every member of the Inner Council experienced the ancestral warning signatures, and our own sealed historical records confirm their claims." "Circumstances have changed," added Fleet Tactician Morskell, her crystalline form refracting light in patterns indicating deep concern. "The humans have disabled 1/3 of our vessels without destroying them or harming our crews. They've demonstrated both technological superiority and restraint, traits our own histories attribute to the predecessors." Zexthal's outer eyes narrowed while his inner pair focused on the tactical display. Despite his reluctance to accept defeat, the military reality was undeniable. His once proud armada lay in disarray, with key command vessels either disabled or actively withdrawing from the conflict. "We still possess overwhelming numbers," he insisted. "We can regroup and launch a final, concentrated assault on Earth itself. Their defenses, while impressive, cannot withstand our combined firepower." His officers exchanged troubled glances, but none openly contradicted him. Zexthal activated the fleet-wide command channel. "All functional vessels, converge on coordinates T739. Prepare for dimensional reorientation and concentrated assault on the primary human world. Success or extinction. There is no middle path." In Earth's command center deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, Admiral Helena Chen monitored these developments with grim satisfaction. The quantum entanglement breach of the Septarchy's communication network provided perfect intelligence on enemy movements and intentions. "They're consolidating their remaining forces," she informed the United Earth Defense Council. "Commander Zexthal intends a final desperate strike directly at Earth." General Okafor frowned. "Casualties would be significant even with our defensive capabilities. Which is why we won't allow the attack to happen," Chen replied. "Initiate Operation Starseed." Throughout the solar system, human vessels that had been engaging in seemingly conventional combat maneuvers suddenly shifted position. Rather than continuing to target individual Septarchy ships, they began moving into a complex formation surrounding the regrouping alien fleet. Captain Laila Mbiki received the new orders in her neural interface. "Jaguar Squadron, form up for Containment Pattern Delta. Prepare quantum resonators for synchronized activation." Her pilots acknowledged wordlessly through the neural network as their ships moved into precise positions around the Septarchy formation. Similar maneuvers executed by hundreds of other Earth vessels created a spherical formation surrounding the alien fleet. "Field integrity at 97%, reported Tactical Officer Rodriguez from Earth Command. "Quantum synchronization in progress." Admiral Chen opened a direct channel to Commander Zexthal. "Septarchy Fleet, this is Admiral Helena Chen. Your intentions have been monitored. We offer one final opportunity to stand down before we are forced to take irrevocable action." On the Eternal Dominion, Zexthal received the transmission with a dismissive gesture. "More human deception. Continue battle preparations." "As you wish," Chen responded, her voice carrying no emotion. "Earth Fleet, activate quantum resonators." Across the complex formation of human vessels, thousands of devices activated simultaneously, creating an interlocking quantum field that prevented faster-than-light travel. The energy signature was familiar to the Septarchy, a more refined version of the technology their own ships used for dimensional folding. Dimensional drives are non-responsive, reported the Septarchy navigation officer, panic evident in her voice. We cannot initiate transit. For the first time in its history, the mighty Armada faced a situation it had never encountered: the inability to retreat. The Septarchy's entire conquest strategy relied on overwhelming force coupled with the absolute certainty that they could withdraw if faced with unexpected resistance. You've been conquering worlds by ensuring you could always escape if things went poorly. Admiral Chen's message echoed through every Armada communication system. Humanity never had that luxury. We've always had to stand our ground and fight to the end. Let's see how you fare when faced with the same choice. While the containment field held the remaining Armada in check, Earth executed its masterstroke. Using quantum entanglement technology that bypassed conventional communication limitations, humans broadcast evidence of the Septarchy's failed invasion to every corner of the galaxy, including to the 100 subjugated worlds under Armada control. The transmission included technical specifications for shields that could resist the Armada's weapons and blueprints for devices that disrupted their command frequencies. Within hours, rebellions ignited across the Septarchy's empire as long-suppressed species seized the opportunity to reclaim their freedom.